You can't park there. That's my spot. The voice cut through the quiet afternoon like a blade, sharp and unrelenting. Heads turned as a woman stormed across the grocery store parking lot, her heels clacking against the pavement. She wore oversized sunglasses, a too-tight designer jacket, and an expression of fury that made strangers instinctively step aside. This was Karen, a woman who believed the world owed her special treatment. The unlucky target of her wrath? A young mother named Emily, who had just wrangled her toddler into the back seat of a modest hatchback. She looked up, startled, as Karen jabbed a finger toward her. You saw me waiting. That's my spot, and you stole it, Karen barked, loud enough for several nearby shoppers to pause mid-step. Emily blinked. Ma'am, I didn't see anyone waiting. The space was empty when I pulled in. But Karen wasn't interested in reason. Her voice rose higher, shriller. Don't you ma'am me. You people think you can just take whatever you want without respecting others. Move your car right now or I'll have it towed. The tension thickened as bystanders began recording on their phones. Emily's little boy peeked over the car seat, wide-eyed, sensing the storm in his mother's face. Emily stayed calm, though her hands trembled slightly as she closed the door. I'm not moving, she said quietly. I have every right to park here. That only fueled the fire. Karen stomped her heel, tossed her sunglasses dramatically onto her head, and unleashed a tirade filled with insults. Every word echoed across the lot, bouncing off car doors and shopping carts. People whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads. Others smirked knowingly. This wasn't their first time seeing someone like her in action. But Karen didn't realize she was building her own downfall. The louder she shouted, the more attention she drew. And attention was the last thing she needed, because 2 spaces down, a man in a dark polo shirt had just finished loading his trunk. He stood still watching, calm, observant. He was no ordinary bystander, though Karen didn't know it yet. Emily's voice, steady but firm, broke through the noise. You're embarrassing yourself. Please just leave me alone. Karen laughed harshly. Embarrassing myself? Honey, you have no idea who you're dealing with. And with that, she marched closer, pulling out her phone as if summoning reinforcements. The crowd held its breath. The stage was set, and her meltdown had only just begun. What Karen couldn't imagine was that her tirade would take a twist so sharp, so humiliating, that everyone watching would remember it for years. The parking lot had turned into a stage, and Karen was its unwilling star. Phones were raised like spotlights, recording every sharp word that flew out of her mouth. Karen pointed her phone camera at Emily's car, circling it like a predator. Look at this thief! She shouted to anyone who would listen. She stole my parking spot. I'm calling the cops. Emily leaned against her car, arms crossed, her expression calm but weary. She wasn't used to confrontation, but something inside told her not to back down. Her son, sensing the tension, had grown quiet in his car seat. A teenager in the crowd whispered loudly, Lady, it's just a parking spot. Another muttered, She's really losing it. But Karen thrived on the attention, mistaking it for support. She dialed 911 theatrically, speaking in exaggerated tones. Yes, officer? I'm being harassed. This woman is threatening me in the parking lot. Come quickly! She glanced around, ensuring everyone heard. The crowd exchanged looks. They had just witnessed the opposite, Karen doing the harassing. Some even chuckled at her performance. Meanwhile, the man in the dark polo, the one quietly watching, took a slow step forward. He didn't intervene yet, just observed. His sharp eyes never left Karen. Emily spoke again, her voice measured. Please stop. I'm not moving my car. You're making a scene. That simple statement was like fuel to Karen's fire. She screeched, stomping her heel against the pavement. A scene? You think this is a scene? Oh, honey, I'll show you a scene. With that, she flung her arms wide, shouting even louder. Shoppers from inside the store began pouring out, drawn by the chaos. Within minutes, nearly 24 people were watching. And here's where Karen made her fatal mistake. In her fury, she turned her insults on the crowd itself. What are you all staring at? Don't you people have anything better to do? Bunch of losers! The shift was immediate. Murmurs spread through the group. People no longer found her meltdown amusing. They found it disgusting. A few booed under their breath. Someone shouted, You're the only one causing trouble, lady! Karen's face flushed red. She doubled down, pacing like a caged animal. You're all against me! But you'll see, I'll have her arrested. You'll all regret laughing at me. At that exact moment, the man in the polo finally moved closer. His voice calm but commanding. That's enough. Karen spun around, ready to lash out at him too. But something in his tone, something in the way the crowd instantly hushed, suggested he wasn't just another bystander. Karen froze for the briefest moment, startled by the man's steady voice. He wasn't loud, but something about the calm authority in his tone cut through the chaos like a blade. She sneered quickly to cover her unease. And who do you think you are? Another one of her little cheerleaders? The man didn't flinch. He stepped closer, his dark polo tucked neatly into pressed slacks, his posture upright. His presence commanded attention without him even trying. My name's David Miller, he said evenly, his eyes locked on Karen. I'm the state attorney general. The air went still. For a second, Karen blinked, clearly processing. Then she scoffed, throwing her head back. Yeah, right. And I'm the Queen of England. Nice try. But the crowd wasn't laughing with her anymore. A murmur rippled through the bystanders. Several recognized him. One man even whispered, "That's him. I saw him on the news last week." Emily's eyebrows lifted in shock, her hand instinctively tightening on her car door. She hadn't expected this twist either. David remained calm, his voice steady as stone. I watched the whole thing. You've harassed this woman, lied to emergency dispatch, and attempted to create a public disturbance. That's not just rude, it's illegal. Karen's jaw dropped. Illegal? Are you serious? She stole my spot. I have every right. Every right to what? David interrupted smoothly. To scream at a mother in front of her child? To waste police resources with a false report? To threaten someone who's done nothing wrong? The crowd buzzed with approval. Someone muttered, "Finally, someone's putting her in her place." Another whispered, "Karma's catching up quick." Karen's bravado faltered. Her eyes darted nervously around the lot. She could feel the cameras trained on her, capturing every twitch of her face. For the first time, she realized this wasn't going her way. Still, she tried one last tactic. She crossed her arms, huffing dramatically. "You can't talk to me like that. I'll sue. I'll have your job." David didn't blink. "You're welcome to try. But I suggest you put that phone away and calm yourself. Down before you dig a deeper hole." The crowd erupted with quiet chuckles. Karen's face flushed crimson, but her hands trembled as she lowered her phone slightly. Emily, still silent, watched with wide eyes. For the first time since the confrontation began, she felt a wave of relief. Someone was standing up to the bully, and not just anyone. Karen opened her mouth to argue again, but David raised a single hand. The gesture alone silenced her. "You wanted a scene," he said firmly. "Now you've got one, and it's about to backfire harder than you can imagine." For the first time since her tirade began, Karen looked genuinely rattled. The confidence in her posture faltered. Her shoulders tense, her lips pressed tight. Still, pride wouldn't let her back down. "I don't care who you are," she snapped at David. "You can't tell me what to do. That woman stole from me. And you're all just ganging up because you hate strong women." The crowd groaned. Someone muttered, "Strong?" More like loud. Another added, "Lady, just stop before it gets worse." But Karen couldn't stop. Her meltdown had momentum. She whipped out her phone again, holding it high, narrating to her imaginary audience. "Look at this. Corruption at its finest. The so-called attorney general protecting a criminal. You're all witnesses to this injustice." David's expression didn't change. He simply pulled his own phone from his pocket and dialed with calm precision. "Yes, this is David Miller," he said when someone answered. "I'm at the Greenway Market parking lot. I need an officer dispatched regarding a false emergency call and harassment incident." Karen's eyes widened. "Wait, you actually are—" The crowd erupted with laughter. Some even clapped, others jeered softly. The realization finally hit. This wasn't a bluff. She had picked a fight with someone far above her imagined authority. Her face turned crimson. She tried to salvage what dignity she could, pacing frantically. "This is ridiculous. You're all against me. I'm the victim here." But karma didn't wait long. As she stormed toward Emily's car, intent on proving her dominance, her heel caught on a small crack in the pavement. With a sharp gasp, Karen stumbled forward, arms flailing wildly. Her phone slipped from her grip, spinning through the air before clattering onto the asphalt, screen shattering instantly. The crowd gasped, then burst into laughter. A few couldn't help but cheer at the irony. Karen scrambled to her knees, scooping up her ruined phone with trembling hands. "No, no, no, no!" Her voice cracked, half rage, half despair. Emily stayed silent, shielding her son from the spectacle. She didn't need to say anything. Karen was undoing herself with every move. David, unshaken, simply observed. "That," he said dryly, "is what happens when you let pride get the better of you." Karen's eyes shot up, brimming with fury and humiliation. But her argument was gone, stolen by the laughter ringing in her ears, the cameras recording her every stumble, and the shattered phone in her palm. And just when she thought it couldn't get worse, the sound of approaching sirens cut through the air. The crowd hushed. Karen froze. Instant karma had arrived, and it was wearing a police badge. The flashing red and blue lights painted the parking lot in streaks of justice. The murmurs of the crowd hushed into silence as a patrol car rolled in and stopped beside the chaos. Two officers stepped out, calm, professional, but clearly aware they were walking into a scene. Karen scrambled to her feet, clutching her broken phone as though it were proof of her suffering. Officers! Thank goodness you're here. I've been attacked, harassed, and humiliated. Arrest her! She pointed a trembling finger at Emily, her voice shrill with desperation. Emily froze, her son watching from the car window, his big eyes anxious. But before fear could take hold, David stepped forward. Officers, he said with practiced authority, I witnessed everything from start to finish. This woman, he gestured toward Karen, verbally harassed a mother, made a false 911 call, attempted to incite a crowd, and caused a public disturbance. I've already reported it to dispatch. The officers exchanged a quick look. Recognition flickered in their eyes as they registered who was speaking to them. One nodded respectfully. Understood, Attorney General. Karen's jaw dropped. Wait, you mean he's really? Her words trailed into silence as the crowd erupted in whispers. Some laughed openly. Others filmed with glee. The lead officer turned to Karen. Ma'am, is that true? Did you falsely call in an emergency? Karen's voice cracked. No, I was the victim! They're all lying! They hate me because I stood up for myself. But her excuses sounded hollow, even to her own ears. The crowd's laughter was relentless, their phones capturing every pitiful word. The second officer sighed. Ma'am, you're coming with us. You'll need to answer for misuse of emergency services and disturbing the peace. Karen's face drained of color. What? No! You can't do this to me! I'm the victim! She clawed at her broken phone, holding it up like a shield. This is illegal! I'll sue all of you. But the officers had heard it all before. They guided her firmly toward the patrol car as she kicked and screamed, her meltdown echoing across the lot. The crowd filmed every second, some even chanting, Karma, Karma! Emily stood quietly by her car, relief washing over her. David offered her a reassuring nod. You handled yourself well, he said softly. Sometimes the best response to anger is calm. Emily smiled faintly, tucking her son's blanket around him. Thank you. I couldn't have done it without you stepping in. David's eyes twinkled with quiet authority. You didn't need me, she defeated herself. As Karen's cries faded into the distance, swallowed by the patrol car's closing door, the crowd began to disperse, buzzing with the story they'd surely tell for weeks. And so, the meltdown that began with a stolen parking spot ended with the one thing Karen never expected: instant karma, delivered in front of everyone. And that's how Karen's epic meltdown backfired in the most humiliating way possible. If you enjoyed watching karma do its thing, make sure to smash that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss the next crazy story. Trust me, this chaos is just getting started.